Thank you, Jerome. I'm pleased to be here today to talk about product care, and we have some great things to show. We are we are in the middle of an unprecedented transformation in our business. Product care started 56 years ago with the invention of bubble wrap. You know, and in many ways, the invention of bubble wrap has enabled small parcel shipments because the solutions used prior to bubble wrap were just not terribly effective or efficient. So starting at that point of innovation, that pioneering point, we have continued to think about how do we enhance the world we live in through packaging. So that's been our focus for a number of years, and we've been focused on materials and products and how best to get those products to customers. And that was good for quite some time. But that's not nearly enough anymore, and it wouldn't be enough to invite all of you here. So today, we want to talk about the company that Sealed Air is becoming, is in the process of transforming into full realization, and the same for product care. And Jerome, I've heard him say this a number of times, if he had an opportunity to rename Sealed Air, he would call it the Sustainability Company. And so for us, it is so critical that all components of our business are truly focused on providing sustainable solutions. And so everyone talks about sustainability. What does that really mean? Well, in our case, we think of it as the elimination of waste. I mean, there's wasted materials, there's wasted time, there's waste in energy, and in freight costs, and in warehouse space. And anything we can do to address these causes of waste at the source creates a sustainable solution. And so we have sustainability woven throughout our innovations, and you'll see that today. And we'll also talk a little bit about how that informs our thinking as a business going forward. Because one of the prime guidelines for Sealed Air is a term we call purposeful innovation. And that's what's on display today. And this is important for us because we aren't going to be able to provide sustainable solutions unless they are truly innovative. But unless we are intentionally thinking about solutions that are sustainable, we won't come up with those innovations. So this is a very important relationship. And in fact, in my 28 years now with product care, I started with our Instapak business. This is the strongest portfolio of innovative solutions we have ever had. And every single solution in our pipeline today has a distinct and specific sustainability characteristic. Something very specific that solution is doing to address the needs, the sustainability attribute, and to address the needs of the customers that solution would provide. So as we talk about that, we're like, okay, this is great. So sustainability is important. No one's going to argue that point. Innovation is obviously critical. That's very important. So, well, what's really different for product care? So I want to highlight this slide. Historically, we have sold product. We have produced product. We have all sorts of packaging innovations. In fact, Sealed Air is the only global provider of protective packaging across the globe. And in this role, we have an unmatched portfolio. Well, we have historically thought about how do we market those products? How do we deliver those products to different points to customers who need those? And now we've taken a step back and said, all right, we need to make sure we understand what our customers need first. And so for the first time in product care history, we are organized now to focus on market sectors, as compared to our historical orientation, which was focused on products. So as you see on this chart, up to 25% of our business today is associated and serves the e-commerce and 3PL fulfillment market sectors. And in our traditional, we're very strong traditionally in general manufacturing, where product solutions like Instapak and CoreView and polyethylene foam play a very strong role. But these are the sectors that we are committed to becoming thought leaders in. And you'll hear in a little bit exactly what that thought leadership looks like in the area of e-commerce and fulfillment. But these are the spaces that we're investing specific resource, and these are the sectors that we are purposefully innovating in. And so why is that important? We're here today to talk about B+ and a range of innovative automated solutions you'll be able to see hands-on out here in our PAC Forum floor. Prior to this orientation on market sectors, it is very likely that we would not have given strong consideration to the sort of technology represented by B+, because it was not a product. It's a solution in a specific market sector, and in many ways it was adjacent to the things that Sealed Air Product Care would traditionally sell. But when you think about serving a market, in this case serving e-commerce and fulfillment, the attributes, the innovation associated with B+ equipment, the unique technology involved, truly addresses a need in that market sector. And if we organize ourselves and say we need to provide solutions to that market, then something like B+ makes all the sense in the world. So our focus on markets is truly transforming the way we think about our business, the way we think about how we organize our solutions, and the way we think about our investments going forward, both in innovations and in acquisitions. We're looking for that sort of disruptive, differential technology, and we believe that B+ equipment represents, is a perfect example of a disruptive technology. So we think about these markets, and we go, that's excellent. So thank goodness Product Care is now focused on customers and focused on markets that we serve. What are you selling to these markets? Well, historically, we've sold products. But this is the new Product Care. And we are looking now not just to sell. We might invoice materials, but that's not what we sell. We're committed to selling 4 distinct and important attributes of the solutions we develop. And you see these 4 up here on the slide. We have damage reduction, cube optimization, fulfillment velocity, and customer experience. Like I said, we may invoice materials, but that's not what we sell. We sell these attributes. And so let's just talk about the first one here. We think about damage reduction. Sealed Air has made, over the years, a tremendous investment in packaging design. We have 29 packaging application centers across the globe. We have over 85 packaging engineers manning these application centers. And they create on the order of 14,000 packaging designs a year. Now, this is an extraordinary amount of data. You think about the Internet of Things, the Internet of Packaging, that's a lot of data. That's a lot of insight regarding the fragility of items. That's a lot of insight regarding innovations in products in the market sectors we serve. So this knowledge is something that we're now able to leverage across multiple dimensions. And I will say that we have invested more in our packaging application centers in the last 18 months than we had in the prior 20 years cumulative. And that's not overstating it. Because we recognize that in order to be innovative, it isn't just about the products. It's about how they're applied. It's about how we design with them. And we'll talk a little bit about what that innovation looks like. We're doing things like 3D scanning, where we can we rescan the external, the form of an item, and then we're able to take that information quickly. We talked about every minute counts. Quickly take that form and design a specific solution to address the packaging requirements of that item. But beyond that, I want to get into the part that's truly innovative, and that's the work we're doing in simulation testing. It's one thing to simulate, let's say for example, simulation software has been used for many years. You can simulate a car crash to an extraordinary level. Here's the challenge we have with packaging. Packaging, once you drop it once, you need to take the results of that drop and drop it again. Not drop it new, drop it while recording and accepting what happened after that first drop. Because we're familiar with ISTA testing standards. There's a sequence you go through to ensure that an item, in fact, has packaging that meets a certain basic level. So we are in the process right now of simulating packaging in the various arenas in the various products that we provide solutions in. So what does this mean? What it means is that we are able to virtually drop test products, not physically, but virtually. If you can do a virtual drop test sequence once, you can do it 100 times. Well, what's the benefit of that? Well, what happens is it leads to this final thing called a guaranteed outcome. We want to provide guaranteed assurance. If we can get a large enough statistical sampling of how a package would perform in real life, we have an idea of exactly how well it will hold up. We then can take that information and communicate to a customer and say, Mr. Customer, we guarantee that this pack will arrive safely, and then based upon the packaging, what percentage of the time will it arrive absolutely perfectly as it was intended, undamaged. And when we sell a guaranteed outcome to a customer, we get away from the conversation about what a material is. We now talk about what's important to that customer, because it isn't as important to them what the solution is, it's what the outcome is. They want their product to arrive in the condition intended. And so we now have technology that would permit us to do that in a way that is scalable and cost effective. And for us, there is nothing more sustainable than ensuring that an item arrives undamaged. When you do any life cycle analysis, replacing a damaged item has by far and away the most significant life cycle impact, negative life cycle impact. And as we go through and we think about damage reduction, the money we save, I mean, we've done estimates where the total cost of damage, not just the item damage, but the logistics, returning the item, the lost goodwill, all the energy expended to be able to get the item shipped and returned, that's in the order of billions of dollars. We estimate it to be well in excess of $9 billion a year globally. I mean, that's significant money. Our ability to be able to help customers address those damage concerns, make sure they have just the optimal amount of packaging, that's a significant part of the innovation, the areas that we're innovating in, and that's central to this one pillar, which is damage reduction. And we're uniquely positioned to do this. I want to talk about cube optimization. Well, we think about cube optimization. We want to have the package be as small as it can possibly be and still ensure that the item shipped inside arrives safely. So when we think about cube optimization, B+ equipment is a great example of that, where we take a box and we form it to just the right size for the item being shipped. And obviously there are savings that are associated with that. But let's just think a little beyond just the right size box. Because when we think about e-commerce, there are multiple dimensions associated with items that we ship. Let's say for a hypothetical order, customer orders 7 items. They're coming down a conveyor. And these items are quite varied. Let's say one of the items that comes down happens to be a $1,000 camera lens. They also happen to order a crystal vase. They ordered paper products. They ordered a T-shirt. And they ordered let's say a dress blazer. Well, these are pretty diverse items. And it would be kind of silly to think that the same packaging solution would be the right one for all the different items in that order. So what we are in the process of doing right now is taking all of the damage information we have, the fragility information we have, and leveraging the kind of solutions you're going to see out on the floor today and say, if this item that comes down the line, it is very fragile, it needs to be protected in a way that would communicate to the recipient that they recognize the fragility and the value, and that it's protected appropriately. But this item that's clothing, that's apparel, and you'll see an excellent clothing and apparel solution out today with our auto mailer solution. That item most cost effectively ships just in a poly mailer that is just the right size for that item. Well, you wouldn't want to put all these things in the same box and try to come up with what's the right packaging for this, because a void fill solution wouldn't protect the really expensive items in that box. So what Sealed Air, what Product Care is looking to do is to ensure that we have the perfect package, that we in fact match the right packaging up with the item and these orders, and which is so critical in customer orders that are diverse. And so you'll see some examples of that. There are labor savings associated with taking this approach. There's certainly void reduction possible by right sizing the boxes. And so you'll see where in our innovation efforts, this unmatched, unparalleled portfolio of solutions gives us the opportunity to say, well, if I have a hammer, everything's a nail. Well, actually, I have many tools. Customers have access to all the tools in our toolbox. You'll see some of them today. And that allows us to ensure that we have just the right packaging solution for the item being shipped. We talk about fulfillment velocity. You're going to see a great deal of that today because that's what automation is intended to do. We want to ensure that we're using labor as efficiently as possible. E-commerce is a particularly challenging world when it comes to fulfillment velocity. When 50% of annual shipments occur 6 weeks prior to Christmas Day, that's an extraordinary demand. In fact, in North America, the whole dim weight decision by UPS and FedEx to now start charging for ground shipments based not just on the cube of an item, but the weight, or not just the weight of the item, but the cube of the item. That was a result of the 2013 holiday season where FedEx and UPS were unable to deliver and meet their commitments. And so they talked to Fred Smith afterwards, in Q1 when he's giving results for year end, and he says, well, we have a problem. We could not handle the instantaneous demand. But it's not just our problem. The e-commerce shippers are not efficient in their packaging. They're shipping way too much air. We only have so much room on our planes and in our trucks. So cube optimization has become a big issue. And while dim weight for ground shipments is a reality now in North America, we believe it will soon be a reality here in Europe as well. Because it needs to be, because the market will insist on that level of efficiency. So how do we address that? Well, part of that is cube optimization, but part of that is handling that instantaneous demand that occurs in that really compressed window. Well, automation is a great way to do that, but it needs to be cost-effective automation because for much of the year, it's not getting anywhere near the same level of utility as it is in those 6 weeks. So we have solutions that we'll be talking about today and ways to deliver these solutions that help free cash flow for our customers, that allow them to use the solutions when they need to use them. And we do that through cycle charging. We do that through a number of different innovative ways to get the automation to our customers when they need them. We also think about just the benefits to customers by being, let's say, for example, you ship 3,000 packages a day during the busiest season. A solution like our automailer system can save you up to 15% increase your throughput 15%, which has an extraordinary impact on the top line. It allows you to either ship more product with the same people or allows you to ship much more product if you expand your capability and your capacity. So fulfillment velocity is very critical. The automailer solution we have is a patent-pending, innovative solution that adjusts not just for the length of the product being packaged, but the height as well. And that's what makes it truly innovative. That's what makes it different than anything else in the marketplace. I look forward to you seeing that on the floor here later today. And then we just talk about customer experience. And this is kind of an intro. How does Sealed Air sell customer experience? Well, I was riveted by a survey that we conducted late last year. We worked with Nielsen and Harris Polling, and they surveyed 2,000 e-commerce customers about their packaging. And there were two statistics that really stuck out to me. One of them was 67% of the recipients specified that the packaging of the item they received told them something about how the brand owner values them, either positively or negatively. Because the e-commerce world is changing. It used to be e-commerce was all about low cost, but now it really is becoming more of an extension of the traditional shopping experience. And one of the hallmarks of that is a sense of being valued, a sense of that if you receive an item, let's say it's an item that has a certain value or a certain level of fragility, you want that item to arrive and have it communicate to you that the company that sent this to me actually cared about me. They cared enough to ensure this arrived. They used the right amount of packaging. They used a sustainable solution, and they ensured that it arrived to me safely. That communication is very important. It's a covenant that once broken is extremely difficult to recover. The second statistic that we gained in this that I found was quite insightful was 53% of the customers who received an item that was damaged blame both the freight carrier and the brand owner. Now, because historically you would think, of course, you're going to blame the freight carrier because they must have handled it poorly or roughly. We've all seen funny little bits on YouTube about handling of packaging, but in fact, consumers really don't differentiate too much. They're upset when an item arrives damaged, and they are going to take that out and hold the brand owner accountable for that. So making the right decision and ensuring the item arrives safely is not just a freight company, not just a shipping company responsibility. So beyond that piece, there are other dimensions to customer experience. We're going to show you a product out here that we were introducing called CoreView Lock. And we have a standards program of items that are basically pre-sized called CoreView Select. This solution is innovative in a number of different ways. One is that it can be printed with the brand owner's logo. So you open up the package is speaking to you. It says something about the brand owner. It communicates a sense of care and a sense of brand identity. It also has the benefit of being excellent in another area of customer experience, which is omni-channel. And omni-channel is becoming increasingly important in e-commerce, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the consistency of being able to use this product both in a fulfillment center and in a brick and mortar location where you have inventory and where historically you're not shipping from, but in today's world it makes a lot of sense to ship from these stocking locations because you have people there in that location, for a couple of hours in the morning. Why not fulfill an order because that brick and mortar location store is closer to the customer and you have freight savings? We can use the same CoreView Lock product. You can just see it. It's like just like our mailer solutions. You can see them in a packaging center, up on the shelf and say, okay, for this item I grab this size CoreView Lock, put it in a box, and the customer is going to receive the same quality packaging and the same positive out-of-box experience as they would if we were shipping it from a fulfillment center shipping 3,000 to 5,000 packages a day. That consistency is important. Our auto mailer solution, the ability to put on, to have a resealable mailer is so critical for reverse logistics. This is particularly important in apparel. It's somewhere a little north of 20% of all e-commerce is apparel, and much of that gets returned. A surprising percentage of apparel gets returned. It's even as part of the strategy. Well, buy 3 sizes, one of them will fit. Well, the ability to get that back in the right package, especially when the brand owner is paying for that return freight, is very, very important. So the customer experience is saying, hey, this is easy to return. That's another critical dimension. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about customer experience and sustainability. When we talk about sustainability, invariably the next word out of my mouth is brand enhancement. Consumers expect packaging to communicate a sense of sustainability in the materials being used, in the amount of packaging being used, in the efficiency of that packaging. They expect sustainability to be reflected in the packaging solution being used. So there is nothing more important to the customer experience, the experience of our customer's customer, than ensuring that the solution speaks about sustainability. And for us, it's this focus on purposeful innovation, ensuring that every innovation we have has a sustainability component to it, is absolutely central to who we are as a company going forward. And you will see examples of that on the floor. We look forward to your feedback on them, because this is just the beginning. This is just the point of the spear. We have a number of innovations in the automation sphere that will be released over the course of 2016 that will build upon what we see out here. We have great concepts that merge solutions like CoreView and B+ together in a way that creates a whole new value. And those are some of the reasons why we're so excited about this marriage, about bringing these companies together, and we're excited for your feedback after you see our live demos. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Vicki Case, who's our Executive Director of E-commerce for Product Care. She's going to speak to you a little bit more about the e-commerce marketplace, trends we see today, and what we think tomorrow's e-commerce world will look like. Thank you.